Hello, how are you? I'm Cassidy Quinn, and this is Mentally Together. Because whether you can see it on the surface or not, we are all just trying to keep ourselves mentally together. And no matter what our brains are experiencing, we're not alone, we're together. And honestly, that is what has been really helpful to me and my mental health lately. Finding and connecting with people who are really together with me on the things that I'm feeling. Because yeah, we can all be empathetic and we can try to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and understand what they are going through, but we can only truly understand what someone else is feeling if we've actually gone through that same thing ourselves. And I say that while also knowing that we can't even ever truly understand because everybody's situation and experiences and self is just different, so we can never really know. But for me, finding people who can really relate helps so much because it makes me feel less alone and like what I'm feeling is normal, even if it's shitty. Right now, when this episode is coming out, it was just Mother's Day in America. Or for me, and maybe you too, listening right now, it's Motherless Day. This was my first Mother's Day without my mom, and I am recording this part of the podcast a couple of days before the actual holiday, so I can't tell you exactly how I felt on that day. But how I felt this week leading up to it was definitely rough. I think for a while I was kind of trying not to think about it too much subconsciously and distract myself. I did take a day in the middle of the week to go down to Woodburn, Oregon to the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival because my mom's favorite flowers are, or were, I don't know how to talk about it, her favorite flower has always been the tulip. So it felt really nice to go down there with my dog Summit and not get to be with my mom, but kind of feel like she was there in a way. But then yesterday, it all just hit me. I woke up, I started thinking about Mother's Day, and then I started remembering how last year on Mother's Day, I didn't go see my mom, and that was a really crappy thing to remember. It's something I wish I could go back and change because I didn't know that I would never get to see her again for Mother's Day, and now I can't change that. But anywho, the point is, yesterday, it just felt really, really heavy, and I was really stuck in my feelings, and all I wanted to do, so most of what I did, was just crawl back in bed, cuddle with my dog Summit, and cry a lot. But when I was ready to crawl out of my little grief bubble, I listened to this interview that you will get to hear on this episode of the podcast. Because it's with someone who gets it, the whole losing your mom thing. It's Tyler Fetter. Tyler is an artist whose work explores big feelings, feminism, and pop culture. I was introduced to her work a few months ago when one of my mom's friends mailed me one of Tyler's books. And grief is weird in so many ways, but one thing that is very weird is that when you go through something like that, the people around you in your life will try to figure out what to do or say to be helpful. And obviously, some of the things end up being more helpful than others. So I'm always a little bit nervous when someone sends me a book that they think might be helpful for me, even though obviously it's a really sweet gesture, but you just never know how someone else will relate to something, you know? So when this package arrived and I opened it up, I didn't know exactly what to think. The book is a graphic memoir, which means it's kind of in a comic book style, and it's called Dancing at the Pity Party. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, I'm going to hold the book up right here so you can look at it. By the way, the video versions always go up on YouTube a few days after the audio version goes wherever you are listening to it right now. So this book is about Tyler's mom, her life, her death, and Tyler's grief. I have kind of read a lot of grief books in the past 8 or 9 months since my mom died, and this one is very different than any other one that I've read because, yeah, it's a graphic memoir, and it's sad, obviously, but it's also somehow fun because it's all these drawings and sweet memories, and it just felt really relatable. Oh, and I should mention this book, by the way, won the Sidney Taylor Gold Medal for Young Adult Literature. So clearly other people think it's really good too. I want to read you my favorite page in the book, which is titled How to Make a Good Cry a Great Cry. And clearly, having a great cry, a great big cry, is something that I am a fan of doing a lot. So here are Tyler's tips for making a good cry a great cry. Make sure you have an abundance of good tissues, so you don't have to end up using toilet paper, or worse, paper towels. Put on the most comfortable clothes that you own. Find something to squeeze or cuddle, like a squishy pillow, animal friend, or consenting human. And important, drink lots of water afterwards so you don't get a post-crying dehydration headache. So yesterday, when I was having a great cry, cuddled up in bed in comfy pajamas with a soft fuzzy blanket and my very soft, cuddly giant doggo Summit, I re-listened to this chat with Tyler. And I was a little worried that it would make me more sad hearing someone else talk about losing her mom, but it actually kind of did the opposite. It made me feel comforted because someone else gets it. It didn't actually make the whole thing suck any less, but I think it did make it hurt a tiny bit less in the moment. And I think that's what Tyler's art does for a lot of people. If you follow her on Instagram, which you totally should, she's always sharing drawings about all of the things she struggles through, like ADHD, anxiety, obviously grief, and some of the things that help her through it all. So I don't want to act like I know exactly what you need if you are listening to this and you are struggling through something right now. However, I do think it's kind of universal that whatever you're going through, the loss of a loved one, depression, any mental illness, any trauma, I think finding someone to talk to or listen to or read their book from someone who's gone through something similar can be really helpful. So I loved talking to Tyler about her art, her mom, her grief, and body positivity. Before we get into it, one note from the editor, which, fun fact, is me. In the first couple of minutes of this chat, you will hear the obnoxious barking of Summit the pup. And I tried to edit it out. It is not possible to edit it out, unfortunately. So please just stick with it. I promise it will go away after a couple of minutes, but I am very sorry. So now, let's get into it with... She's a writer, she's an artist, she's a cat mom, and a member of the Dead Mom Club, my favorite club that I've always wanted to be in. Thank you for having me join you. Tyler Fetter, welcome to the show.
For having me.
Sorry to start off with just the dark humor, but that is one of the things that I appreciate about you and all the stuff you put into the world, is that you talk about these hard things in a way that's like cute and entertaining and not as just scary and shitty. At least that's how it feels to me.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me too. I feel like there are for sure days when it's, like really serious and sad, but on the whole, there's a lot of dead parent laughing in my family and with my friends and internet community and stuff. We do a lot of laughing about things that other people might be like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, there's sometimes when I make jokes and everyone around me is like, whoa, that's a little dark. I'm like, well, I can say it, okay? It was my mom, it's my depression, whatever it is.
Exactly.
But thank you for writing your amazing Dead Mom graphic memoir. Number one, I did not know that like graphic memoirs were a thing. And one of my mom's good friends sent me your book. And when I first saw it, I was like, this is interesting. Like, we're just gonna laugh about this now. And then I got it so quickly. Like I cried through it, I laughed through it, and somehow it also like unlocked memories of my own mom as I read wonderful things about your mom. So I just want to say thank you.
My pleasure. That's the perfect reaction. I'm so glad that it helps you in that way.
And your mom sounds awesome.
Yeah, my mom was very cool. And it makes me really happy that people who read the book and did not know her in person get to know that now. Like, such a gift to me. It's just very cool.
I was just gonna say that I wish that I got to meet her, because also I feel like she would be friends with my mom, because it sounds like she liked doing crafts and playing Scrabble, and had an affinity for Greek food, which my mom
Yes.
also did, so, or does. I don't know if we do past tense, present tense. It's a mixture in my
I know,
brain.
I kind of use both, past and present tense. Yeah, Greek food in our family was like special occasion food because there was this one restaurant that we really loved. And like normally when we went out to eat, we wouldn't get like appetizer, entree, dessert, like the whole shebang, but we wanted a Greek place because it was all so amazing.
Yes.
That's a food where like when I eat it now, it makes me think of my mom, which is a cool thing to have. There are all these little sprinkles of like everyday experiences that make me think of her.
That's really wonderful. So you can feel like she's there with you, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. It brings back memories in the good, alive kind of way, not the like bad, sick, dying memories.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Which I also loved about your book is that it is such a good balance of like, yeah, we've got the sad times, the part where my mom got sick and everything went bad and it really sucked. But also like, this is just my mom and she's really cool. And here's what she looks like. And here's these pictures. And it's just really sweet.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel like you can't really have one without the other. I think a lot of media about death, probably the kind that's like written or created by someone who didn't actually experience a loss, I feel like it just puts grief in this box of like, it's just only sad and very serious and like formal, weirdly.
Yeah.
And I think in my experience of meeting people who have lost someone close to them, it's so much more complex than that. And there is a lot of like laughing and just like awkward, weird stuff. It's not all just like sobbing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's definitely how I felt. But sometimes you, at least, I mean, this is the first time for me that I've like really gone through the grief fun time. And so I've been learning a lot. But yes, like what I used to hear about, like the 5 stages of grief and there's like a formula to it. And then you get in it and you're like, this is a lot messier than everybody made it seem like.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Messy is a good word.
Yeah.
All very messy.
Yeah.
And like physically messy too. I know you can't totally tell right now, but I just shoved all the mess in my home, just like right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I support it because I relate. Yep.
Thank God for the little video preview thing. It shows you on Zoom. I just am like pushing things out of the corner.
Even like there's like a little shelf on the table behind me and there's like stuff on the bottom of the bottom shelf that's like just out of the frame. Nope, I am clean. I am a clean, organized human. Don't think anything else of me.
Yep.
But grief, I can definitely feel you on the like physically actually messy. And then also I guess I get to welcome you to the ADHD club because you were just diagnosed this year.
Yeah,
right?
like over the summer. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I only officially joined the club last year. So I am part of the diagnosed in their 30s club, which is
yeah.
weird and fun and bizarre and also a bigger club than I thought.
Yeah,
I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I'd like just recently started hearing about it. I'd always like known of ADHD, but I think I, like most people, just assumed it's like hyper little boys. And I was like, well, that's not me. So, but kind of figured it out through TikTok. I started getting all these TikToks recommended to me, and I was like, oh my God, this sounds like me. And then I talked to my therapist, who's also my psychiatrist, and I was like, I always feel uncomfortable like bringing in a like diagnosis that I came to on my own. It feels like she's going to be like, no, like you don't have a degree. But she was like, let's discuss this. And then it became part of my list of qualities about myself.
I love how you describe that because yeah, it does feel very weird. I also came to actually realize I had ADHD through TikToks. It had been something that was kind of in the back of my head for a few years. And then TikTok was like, hey, this is a thing. You should probably look into this. This is maybe some of why you're struggling right now. And especially like once I started working from home, but it feels very weird to go to a doctor and be like, all these symptoms from my phone. I think that I have, so please help me. And but I also think that's something that's happening so much now. So maybe like the doctors will get used to it. But
I know, because I feel like we just have all this information available to us that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
So it's not just like I was obsessively looking in like a medical book and I think I have all these symptoms. It's like, no, there are all these women in their 30s similar to me who were like good students when they were little, and they're all realizing it now. And
yep, I relate. Yep, was good in school, but then now I'm like, what's going on? Yep, yeah. And I thought about our ADHD because you were saying grief is messy, like physically messy. And for me, my ADHD definitely manifests in some I don't know, disorganization, having piles of stuff everywhere. Does that feel
I mean, there's
like
there's a pile of stuff right here. Yeah, I find for me the way that ADHD manifests a lot is like I swing back and forth between like really neat and organized to like super messy and disorganized, and I'm just constantly trying to like inch myself towards the organized direction.
Yeah,
just or like really productive versus like can't get myself to do anything.
Yes, which I think that's definitely something I've learned about ADHD. Like, okay, it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder, whatever tense the H is in. But it's like, oh, I can have attention and focus on something. And I can also not have attention and focus on the things I need to have attention and focus on.
It's like extreme in either direction.
Yes. Parkour. It's parkour organization.
Closest to parkour that I will ever get.
Yes. What actually led to, obviously you mentioned TikTok, but what all led to you going, oh, maybe I should go get a diagnosis or see if this is a thing. Maybe I should bring up these TikToks to my psychiatrist therapist.
It literally was TikTok. Like for me, my TikTok algorithm is like so accurate all the time. It's just all like hats and body positive stuff and art and what, I mean, it's like my Instagram, whatever, the same stuff. and it had all this mental health stuff. I also have anxiety, so it's all these anxiety and depression things. And then it was like, hey, also if you have ADHD, you might want to like try these tips for how to like keep your schedule on track or whatever, just like over and over again. And I was like, if everything else is so accurate, then maybe this is too. And I started looking it up more and reading about the like inattentive form of ADHD, because I am not a hyperactive kind of person at all. And so hearing that it's like the hyperactivity part is like inside your head and it's just like thoughts bouncing around and stuff, I was like, oh my God, that's me. Yeah, like I was always a pretty good student. In elementary school I was a really good student, and then like middle school, high school, college, I was always like desperately trying to stay on the A- side of the A-B+ divide. And it felt really overwhelming. It always just kind of felt like I was like working harder than other people in order to do well. Not working like studying more, but just like I had to like clench myself like emotionally in order to get anything done.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends that were like valedictorian type. So even though I was like in the AP classes and stuff growing up, I always felt like kind of a dud because I was like the least like naturally gifted one of all of them.
And now all those people, for the record, are probably like looking at you going, oh my gosh, she's so talented. She can draw and she can write and she's released multiple books. Oh my gosh, how do I be like Tyler?
Yeah, they're all doctors and stuff. They're not paying attention.
Boring.
Yeah, it's
just
fine.
kidding. Any doctors listening?
No, they were
amazing.
nice. Yeah, I feel really lucky that I've like ended up in this career that can kind of accommodate all of my issues, and I can have days where I'm like working all day long and then days where I'm just like on the couch playing Animal Crossing and sending a few emails, and somehow I'm able to like cobble it together into a legitimate adult career. It worked out okay.
I love that. And yeah, I feel like my ideal weeks are like that as well, where I can, and it's been pretty true lately, even if it's not necessarily like working the last few months since my mom passed away. It's like some days I just have to sit on the couch and do nothing today. And that's how I will be more productive tomorrow and go back to the next day. It's like, I'm going to get everything done. And then the next day I'm back on the couch. So yeah.
Yeah, you can't have the same expectations for yourself every single day because we're not robots. Like, we're people and we different things work different days.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen you talk a lot about how we talked at the beginning a little bit, like losing your mom and your anxiety and your ADHD. Like these are all things that are part of your identity now. And I know some people love doing that. I can relate to that a lot. Like I'm going to claim that those are my things, put it on there, stick it on my forehead. Other people are more internal about it and don't really want to share it. How do you kind of decide what you're going to claim and put out into the world versus what to keep in?
That's a really good question. I feel like it's definitely changed as I've become an adult. I just like learned what anxiety was when I was in college. My mom died my sophomore year of college, and I started therapy my junior year.
Okay.
I didn't get diagnosed with anxiety officially until after college. So it was kind of a gradual thing. And in college, I was just like trying to seem normal, whatever that means. I was like deeply uncomfortable and afraid of going to parties and drinking and stuff. And that's such a big part of college for so many people. And like at this point in my life, I can tell my friends like my anxiety is really bad today, so it's going to be hard for me to do XYZ. But at that point, like I didn't really know it was a thing and definitely didn't feel comfortable talking about it. So it was a lot of like, I have work to do. Like I have to get up early tomorrow, whatever. And it was just like crushing inside and feeling embarrassed. But now, especially like with the internet and social media, being able to find these communities of people in some of the same circles, I feel way more comfortable just being like, I got all these mental illnesses. My mom died. Like I have trauma, whatever. This is just part of who I am. And it's much more comfortable to just have people know that stuff and not have to like tell them. Yeah. I can just live my life. And that's a part of it.
I can relate really hard to that because even I remember the first time, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, like when it had been like 3 weeks since my mom died and I posted about it on social media, and it was horrible and terrifying and sad because then like everybody knew, but at the same time it was like, oh, everybody just knows now. Like, there you go. If you are calling me and I didn't call you back, that's probably why. If I don't call you back for a year, that's probably why. Right. Like, just there you go. Okay. Have it, deal with it, or don't. Bye. This is me.
It's like when celebrities like announce their divorce or something. It's just like, okay, everyone knows now. Right. If I seem weird, that's why.
Yeah. If I start crying out of nowhere when we're like eating cookies in the kitchen, like, there you go.
I mean, social media was like such a different landscape when my mom died. Like it was 2009. I had a Facebook And I remember like messaging a bunch of my friends because she got diagnosed over the summer. So I was home away from my friends.
Yeah.
A message on Facebook and tell them that she had cancer. And it's just like so crushing. And I feel like maybe it would be easier if I had like other types of social media, but honestly, it's hard no matter what. Who am I to say? It's like grief is grief and it sucks whenever it happens. There's no good time to lose someone you love.
Right. No, it's great now. Listen, it's easy. You do it now, it's fine.
Like, what am I saying?
I'm just making a dumb joke.
I mean, it's also like I'm just such a different person now than I was when I was 19. So like now it would be easier for me to tell people, but like I've had all this time to like grow into who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm definitely, I mean, even just like, I'm very grateful for social media now. And I also know everyone deals with it differently. Like my brother, I don't think he's posted anything on social media about my mom passing away. And that is also totally fine and valid. I can't shut up about it. But like, you know, now that I've talked around my phone about grief and like posted about grief on my phone, now my phone just feeds me like all these grief pages. It's like, here you go. Here's support. Have the internet. It loves you. You're not alone.
I finally like wound my way into the grief meme part of the internet, and I highly recommend that if you've not gotten there yet. I have some good grief meme accounts. I can
Yeah, please send me grief meme accounts.
It's like they're all so dark, like where it's just clearly like only for people in this one little narrow. But
like it's dark, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all in here like with the flashlight under the blanket. It's fine.
No, we're all just like, it sucks. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Great. Just cry together.
Yeah.
Do you feel like now that you do talk about all these things so openly on the internet, that it is easier for you to talk about them in person, like with actual humans, or is that still difficult?
I mean, it's definitely easier to write about it for me than to talk about it, but that's how it is for like basically every subject for me. I'm just like comfortable behind a screen. But yeah, for sure. It's so much easier to talk about it in person now than it was before. And I think a lot of that is just like growing up and being more confident than I used to be, being able to just be like, yeah, this thing is hard for me and it's not hard for you. And you know what? There are things that are hard for you that aren't hard for me. And that's because it's the beauty of diversity and like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I certainly was not able to feel that when I was 19 or in my early 20s. Not at all.
Yeah, which definitely makes sense to me that it, you know, gets easier just as you get older in general. Cause yeah, like when I was 19, I didn't have the confidence to know that something different about me was cool versus like, I want to be like that person. And so now I'm like, yeah, my brain does these weird things, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you go on the internet and you find the other people whose brains do some of the same weird things.
I know, what a joy that there are just like artists making art about depressing stuff that I can be friends with. Like, wow.
When did that start? Like I've seen you talk about how putting your art or your feelings into art and your mental struggles into art does actually help you. Mm-hmm. When did that start? And when you started it, did you realize that's what you were doing?
I think it was probably pretty gradual. When I first started putting art online, it was like almost exclusively like pop culture fan art kind of stuff because it's easy and it's a way to connect with people. And I had made this graphic like comic essay about my mom in college for a class a few years after she died. It was only 4 pages long, and I put it on my Tumblr one year. Tumblr was like where I started posting my art online before I got into Instagram. And it was like, hi guys, like I know you usually get this one kind of art from me, but it's been however many years it had been since my mom died, and I just thought I'd share this thing. And it got really like lovely responses from strangers, and it was very comforting for me. So I think that was like dipping my toe in the water and
Yeah.
just like gradually started moving into that kind of space.
Was that terrifying?
Yeah, I mean, not as hard as it would be with other scenarios. I don't know. I think because it was something I had already made,
Mm-hmm.
it was like more like a show and tell than like I made a new thing. Like,
Yeah.
here's this for you to all see. And because I feel like when people hear that your parent died, they are not going to be that mean to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this secret thing of like, my mom died, you have to be nice to me.
Yes.
And that is helpful, especially on the internet.
Yeah, like what you're gonna say something bad about my art. My mom, it's about my mom being
Exactly.
dead, okay?
Yeah. Like, how mad are you going to
Yeah.
get?
Have you been putting off a visit to the doctor of any kind for way too long? I'm talking a flu shot, an x-ray, or even therapy. I know how that feels. You know you need to do it, but sometimes it just seems so difficult. That's why I've started going to Zoom Care. With locations in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Colorado, Zoom Care offers same-day doctor visits that you can book online or from their app. Yup, you don't have to talk to anyone on the phone. They even offer mental health visits where you can speak to a board-certified mental health provider in person or through video. That's how I've been going to therapy this year, all on my webcam from the comfort of my own couch. Oh, that reminds me, I better go book my next session. If you're ready to make an appointment of your own, head to zoomcare.com. That's ZOOMCARE.com.
Now, back to the show.
I love that you somehow turn these like sad, scary feelings into art in general and art that's like cute and entertaining. Like I saw one that you did talking about when you get into big like overwhelm mode, you have a tendency maybe to like self-isolate. And
Yes.
you drew yourself in a little turtle shell.
Yes.
And it was the perfect little depiction and it made it so cute, but also was talking about something that can feel dark, but also I can relate to that a lot.
I'm glad. Yeah, I think I like naturally kind of gravitate towards like cutesy, kawaii kind of stuff. I was a big fan of like Hello Kitty and all that growing up, and I love pink and I like pastel colors. So my book is very pink and very pastel-y, and that might not be what comes to mind when one thinks of death and illness.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it works for me.
Right. Like, why can't it be what we think of?
Yeah, why can't something be cute and sad at the same time?
Yeah. Just like us, we can be cute and sad at the same
Yeah,
time. Humans can, art can, feelings can.
I'm always so jealous when I'm watching a movie or something where someone's really sad and they like look nice, like their home
Yeah.
is clean and they're like wearing pajamas that are like a matching set or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
like,
for
how
sure have an
nice.
oil stain on every shirt I've ever cried in.
And they're
Or-
like cooking beautiful meals and
Yeah, or they have like a glass of wine where there are like no smudges on the glass and they're just drinking it. And I have like, I'm like blowing my nose with like toilet paper. Like it's just, can never be chic like that.
yeah, chic sadness, also great. Not what I experience.
Uh,
When it comes to your cute turtle drawing and the self-isolating, because that's definitely something I have experienced when I get overwhelmed and all the sad, bad feelings. And it's also something I remember talking to my mom about at certain times. Is there anything you've learned that has helped you through those moments?
I think something that has been really helpful that I've been working on in therapy is like, so with anxiety, obviously a major goal in therapy is to have less anxiety and learn steps to keep yourself from having these intense periods of anxiety. But the other part is to just like accept that that's who you are. And there's sort of a balance of those two things. So I think I've gotten a lot better at like when I'm noticing that I'm really isolating or getting kind of trapped in certain thought patterns or whatever, to just be like, there's my brain doing that thing again. And it kind of like helps me step back from it and also not be too hard on myself about it. Like it's not my fault that I have anxiety, it's just biology.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like rather than like fighting intensely to try to not be isolating, to just be like, whoops, there's that thing I'm doing. And I find for me, I kind of just naturally start like moving back in a less isolated, less depressing direction. And sometimes it takes a little time, and like that's okay too. Obviously, the goal would be to not be in those holes too often.
I mean, yeah, but
But like, there's probably never going to be a time in my life when I don't ever do that. So might as well just be gentle with myself when it happens.
yeah, just being gentle with ourselves in general is so
Yeah.
so huge. It sounds simple, but it can be really hard and take us a
Yeah.
long time to figure out.
I often like sort of envision my anxiety in my head as like a younger version of myself. Like
Aw.
before I knew any like context for anything, when you're a little kid, emotions just feel really big. And so
Mhm.
if I think that there's this like little baby Tyler inside of me that's like scared of something, like I'm not going to be mean to that baby Tyler. I'm going to be like, come on, like we can do the thing.
Yeah.
You can have a treat afterwards.
Yes. I love that. I actually, the last episode of the podcast that I recorded was with a woman who is the executive director at the Dougie Center, which is a center to help like kids, teens, adults through their grief. And I was asking her all these questions about kids and grieving, and everything she said, I was like, I feel like we should tell adults that too. It's like,
Yeah.
take naps and let your feelings out, and like have a
Uh-huh.
treat, have a reward. I'm like, yep, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Same thing. We can just gotta talk to ourselves like we are children, because we are still children.
Yeah, it's like you're still the person you were when you were little. You're just older and have more experiences.
Yeah. What are some of the things when you wake up and you're just having one of those days where you just want to be on the couch, or you don't want to do anything, or whatever it feels like to you, where the anxiety is bad, the ADHD is going crazy, for lack of a better way to put that. And what do you do on those tough days?
If I feel like genuinely like I'm probably not going to get a lot done that day work wise,
Mhm.
for me, like distraction can be really helpful if I'm kind of like getting caught in like negative thought patterns or whatever. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, I watch a lot of TV shows about like murder and rape and stuff. I don't know why I find these like horrible subjects to be kind of comforting background noise. I'll have to discuss that with my
Yeah.
therapist.
I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah, I mean, I know like all women are into true crime somehow. I don't know how that has happened.
I had to stop because I get nightmares too much. It's like too much true
Fair.
crime. I can't live in fear.
I should probably keep an eye on that.
But then I did listen to one on a recent drive to my parents' house, and I was like, oh, okay, we're back. I guess I remember why this is so addicting. Do I need
Yeah,
this?
just like I want to know all the clues and all the patterns and all that. But I love like jigsaw puzzles. They're really comforting for me. And I'm obsessed with Animal Crossing. I do it in waves, but lately I've been in one of those waves. It's like, it feels like I'm being productive because I'm like harvesting all my vegetables in a video game. But sometimes that it gets me through the day, and then the next day I do the actual stuff I have to
Yeah.
do.
Or maybe there's part of your brain subconsciously that's like, oh, I watered my vegetables. I'm going to drink some water. I should water myself.
That's a good point.
I don't have Animal Crossing, but I fall into like Sims
Yeah.
waves where I'm like, yes, I'm taking care of these humans for a couple weeks, and then they're all gonna like pee themselves for the next 2 months while I forget about it. But that's fine.
I used to play The Sims like in high school or something, and I would just design a house and then stop. Like I never would do the part with the actual people. I just only decorate the houses.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, those are all really great. I love that because sometimes I think at least I will think, okay, my brain feels crappy. I have to do something big. Like, does it need to be therapy?
Yeah.
Does it need to be medication? Which are both things for me that have helped a lot.
Same.
But I think there's also just really little things that I love that you post about those all the time, of like just the things you said, listening to a podcast, playing Animal Crossing. Like, I don't know if a doctor is going to put that on a big printout in their office that's like, these are things you should do, but they are things that genuinely can help our brains, or at least I feel like help me through those crappy moments.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like having chicken soup when you have a cold.
Yeah,
it's like, there's like hydration in it or whatever, but there's hydration in tons of things, but chicken soup specifically feels very comforting. And I think going on Pinterest and listening to a podcast or whatever can do the same kind of thing for your brain, even if it's not like doctor recommended.
Totally. Yeah, it can still accomplish some of the same thing. Maybe a little dopamine hit in there.
Hit that
on those sad days.
Yeah.
And I saw one of your drawings on Instagram that you had like things that help your brain when you're going through a tough time, and you had it sorted into perfect categories. I thought like low energy, medium energy, high energy, because sometimes it's like, oh, going on a run, sure, that would be great. I don't have the energy for that right now, even though I think it would probably be great for my brain.
Yeah, like I know that leaving the house and getting fresh air makes me feel better like almost every time, but sometimes I just can't do it. So like taking a bath or like clearing off the coffee table and Windexing it are like little things that make a big difference when you can't like get the strength to do the big thing that helps.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of sad cleaning these last few months, which is pretty new for me. Not the sad, but well, it's new sad. Thanks, Mom. But the cleaning part, because I've never been like a super like cleaning person. But lately that feels like a low energy way to get me feeling in a better spot. So I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm a functioning human, I think,
like,
maybe is like what's going on. Yeah.
Like I feel like having cleaned is a really good space to be in, like having finished cleaning, like waking up in the morning and remembering that I cleaned the kitchen and then going into the kitchen, it's all clean. That alone like feels so good. So actually cleaning is like, that you're going to get to that point eventually.
Yes. Which if my mom is listening to this from wherever she is, she's probably laughing her butt off because she's like, do you know how many times I told you to clean your room, you asshole? And you would never do it. And now this is what got you to clean your house. Yes.
Our moms are thinking that same thing.
Yes, Mom, this is what got me to clean. Okay. Sorry. Took 32 years, but here we are. Oh, the other thing. So obviously I've read, I literally have your book, your Dancing at the Pity Party book right next to me. Your other book that I have not gotten to read yet is called Bodies Are Cool, which is a body positivity book for kids, which sounds so genius and wonderful. Where did that book idea come from?
Thank you. It came from, so my mom is extremely diety. It's just a real bummer. It's something that I never really got to reconcile with her before she died, but I like to think that if she hadn't died, she would have like come around to body positivity, because I think a lot of it was very much a product of like the era we were in. Late 90s, early 2000s. Diet culture was like an absolute hellscape.
Yeah.
And so our family was like really messed up about food and bodies and eating. And one of my sisters has been in and out of residential eating disorder treatment for a really long time. And the other sister like struggled with an eating disorder pretty intensely for a while and has pretty much recovered from it. And I luckily have never been fully in an eating disorder, but I've definitely like teetered. I think a lot of people have, even if it
Yeah.
hasn't gone all the way into a full-blown thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last however many years I've been doing like internet art, I've learned so much about like fat acceptance and anti-diet stuff. And I've gotten so much comfort from that. I mean, it's changed my perspective so dramatically. And I just wish that for other kids, they could know that stuff earlier on and not have to go through adolescence and early adulthood, like hating themselves or just like being judgmental of other people. Like if they happen to have a like, societally adored body, but they see other people that don't. I'm hoping that the book will help them be like, oh, that person looks different. Like everyone looks different and that's okay. So Bodies Are Cool was like my fun early quarantine project. Drawing a lot of colorful, happy pictures right after I'd finished my sad dead mom book. It's a nice way to pass the time, that like first early quarantine time when everything was extra terrifying.
Yeah, way to really make quarantine productive for yourself.
I mean, that was my productive part of quarantine. The rest of it was a lot of couch laying and stuff.
Which is also productive, I would say.
Yeah, it's, you know, we all need a balance of all of it.
Yes.
And I have it right here. It's
I love it.
Just like very big and colorful. All the pictures are super colorful.
Oh my gosh. And you even did an audiobook for it too, right?
I did. I went in last winter, I think. I like bundled up and had all my masks and everything on, and I went into a little audio booth and they like, recorded me. It was very cool and weird experience. I have not listened to it. I'm kind of terrified too, but hopefully other people like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. That's so official. Like in an audio booth.
I know. I like
recording your own book.
Headphones on, and I'm like, look at me. And it's funny because the audiobook is like literally, I think 5 minutes long because the book is so short. It's a kid's book.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's an audiobook. Listen to it on your commute.
Then it's like bingeable. You can just keep listening to it over and over again, however long your commute is, until it sinks in.
Yes.
Okay? So you
I really
can
do
read it back
feel
with Tyler.
Yeah. It's like my secret goal that like while it's technically a kid's book, I really want the kids' parents to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if my parents had known when I was like a preschooler to not say bad stuff about bodies, I think my whole life would be different.
Yeah. Whoa. That's a big statement. My whole life would be different.
I mean, honestly, like maybe not like dramatically different, but the amount of time and energy and money that I've spent on like trying to have a body that just isn't the body that I have. So sad and such a waste.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that there are kids that just think bodies are cool now. Some people have emailed me videos of their kids reading the book, and it's like the best thing in the world.
I bet.
Go straight from like a death book to just getting like unsolicited, like cute videos sent to me.
Yes.
Such a joy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I need to write a kid's book just so I get that.
Highly recommend.
It is now one of my goals to write a children's book because my mom really wanted to write a children's book, and
That's so great.
She never got to.
Uh-huh.
And she even had like the whole story in her head. And I'm hoping that someday I magically like find it in a Google Doc. I'm like, she had to have written this down somewhere.
Yeah.
Not yet. But now I'm like, okay, fine. I will take that on. I don't know how to draw, but
That's a beautiful project, though. I love that idea. Even if it's a different story that isn't the one she had, like that's such a special way of like
yeah.
keeping her alive.
Especially if I know that people might send me videos of their kids reading it. I just want videos of cute kids, okay? Babies, puppies, I want it all.
Yeah. If anyone ever shows me a picture of my book with their pet, I'm like, give it to me. I just want all the cute things.
Yes, it helps. It does.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved a drawing that I saw you do somewhat recently that was saying you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mhm.
And you wrote in that post, speaking about of things that come from family, that is something that you grew up hearing in your family, or that you guys use as a saying a lot in your family. So what does that mean to you?
To me, it means that like you can't help other people if you're not helping yourself enough. Like being generous and doing good for other people is such an important goal. But if you're like super depressed or just in a bad place, it's really hard to do that. So it's like by filling your own cup, by like taking care of your needs, you're giving yourself an opportunity to be able to do good for other people.
Yeah.
And it's very helpful for me to remember, like, if there's ever a really bad thing in the media and I want to like donate and help somehow, but I'm really exhausted. If I take a nap, then when I wake up from the nap, I'll have the energy to try to raise money for a thing and then help out that way. So I think
Totally.
you can't separate doing good for yourself with doing good for other people.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I love that. Also, speaking of good, doing good for others, I have, or good for yourself, I've seen you also post about there might be some good things that have come in your life, like silver linings, as you described it, that have come from the mental struggles you've been through. And that's something that I think about a lot when it comes to my ADHD. I'm like, oh, okay, it sucks sometimes. There's also some benefits, but it also can suck.
Yeah.
What are some of those silver linings that you've found?
I think from mental health stuff and grief, I've gotten more thoughtful and empathetic for other people's issues. I think I don't get as like riled up by little problems as other people do. I like never get mad at traffic and things like that. It's just like whatever. Listen to another podcast. And I think I've gotten so much like creative fodder from stuff. Just get ideas when you're stuck in your own head all the time. And then I'm able to put them on paper and help other people. And that's a good thing. When I was working on my book about my mom, I always felt like, who's going to care about this while I was working on it? I mean, like, I feel like the biographies people read are like about celebrities and stuff. I just thought like, who's going to read this like depressing story about someone that they've never heard of?
Yeah.
And my therapist and agent, who sometimes acts like a therapist also, they were both like, you're helping other people by making this, like other people are gonna find comfort in it. So even if it feels like this like selfish, weird thing, like you're doing something for other people. So that helps me feel better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's how you get to feel, because like I said, when we first started, it definitely helped me and helped me in surprising ways. Cause yeah, it's like even me starting it, I'm like, okay, here's this other person's wonderful mom, and now it's gonna be sad, and it's just gonna make me sad. And then it's like, no, actually, it makes me feel like I'm not alone in having this huge range of feelings. And then also like I said, it somehow like reminded me of memories with my mom of like, oh, okay, wait, I need to write that down because I totally forgot about that thing, you know?
Uh-huh.
Or even you talked about like calling you, I would guess maybe you've changed the outgoing, you know, you'd change the outgoing message on your answering machine, your parents' answering machine by now, but it made me think, oh, I wonder if we've changed that because I haven't called the house phone and like listened to my mom's voice on
Uh-huh.
their answering machine. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, Tyler. I can try that. I could hear my mom maybe.
Yeah. I know there's so many weird little things like that you don't like think of until you're going through it.
Yeah.
But I'm just so honored that my book has helped you and has helped anyone. It felt so personal while I was working on it. Like it was almost just like making a diary into a book. So it's very cool to know that it has comforted people.
Well, and I would bet, you know, it's helpful for me as I'm going through something similar, but then I would bet for people who just don't get it, it might help them get it, you know, like, oh, my friend's going through a hard time. Oh, I could do this for them. Or, oh, don't think it's weird if they feel like this, or they make some dark humor jokes about it today.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's the goal. Some famous artists said that art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. And
Ooh.
I can't remember who. I think it's one of those quotes that is like attributed to a bunch of different people. But anyway, that's the goal with this book. And I think it has comforted people who have lost someone. And then for people who haven't lost anyone, they're like, oh God, like I should reach out to my friends.
Yeah.
Lost parents or whatever.
Is there anything that friends or family members or just anybody has done to comfort you or help you in the saddest times?
Yeah, I think something that has been really special to me is when people reach out on my mom's birthday or on Mother's Day or something, like years after she died. Because I'm sure you've seen that, like right when your person dies, there's like a swarm of people that are trying to help. And then the more time that passes, the fewer people are connected to it at all anymore. So whenever someone, even if they like just bring up my mom, not in a death related way, if they're just like, if we're watching a movie and they say like, what movies did your mom like?
Yeah.
Not in like a weird way out of nowhere, but I don't know. Letting conversation like move in that direction, I think is really special because my memories of my mom are not like only death related. Like I still have all the memories and experiences of her before she got sick, where she was just like my mom, like everyone's mom. So yeah, I think it can be a real gift to just like show interest in the loved one of your friend or whoever who died.
Yeah. My boyfriend and I went out to dinner at a Mediterranean restaurant a few weeks ago, and afterwards I was just feeling very sad that day, and he asked me like, oh, what would her favorite thing that we ordered, what would her favorite thing have been? And it just made me cry, but it made me smile, and it was just really nice to think about my mom in the things that she loved, and not in a we're talking about the fact that she died way, just like food, mom, cool. Yeah
I was doing some like motherless event in the past year. I've done a few of these Zoom events where everyone on the Zoom call has lost a parent.
Whoa.
Which is so cool and weird. And we did a thing where we all went around and said what annoyed us the most about our mom. And it was so much fun. And we we're like all laughing and like connecting to each other's experiences.
Oh my gosh.
And like, it was just great because it's like, when do you ever have the opportunity to do that in your life, to like be annoyed by a parent who has died, but like in a playful way? It was just very fun. I recommend it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that you talk about the Dead Mom Club a lot, and it's a real thing. I'm still like, I'm new to the membership.
Sure.
I didn't know there were Zoom calls where we just got, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Around Mother's Day, I feel like there's a lot of good dead mom content. Thank God, to counter all the sentimental ads and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've always been on the other side. Like, here's my lovely post about my mom who's alive on Mother's Day. And now I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all those nice posts. Now I get
it's
it.
interesting, like for me, since my mom died on Father's Day, I always feel so aware of like, I don't want to be like bragging that I have a dad who's alive. Like I want to be sensitive to it. And yeah, it feels weird to be like on the other side of that.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like, I'm not bragging that my dad's alive.
I know, it's like he's just my dad. Yeah.
Right. Just sharing a thing about my dad, and he happens to be alive, and that's great. So
but it can feel like on Mother's Day, like all these people are bragging about their moms, even though it's so clearly not what they're doing. And it's great that they're all expressing the love for their moms. You know, it's complicated.
Right. Express your love for your mom. And appreciate her.
I don't think people shouldn't be sharing about it, but it is just like a sensitive time.
Totally. Does grocery shopping stress you out? Do you order takeout way too often? Let me tell you about something that has really helped me combat both of those things. Instacart. With my ADHD and anxiety, sometimes the whole process of figuring out what to make for dinner, then getting the ingredients, and then actually making it seems like a lot. So now I have cut out one part of that process by shopping on Instacart. I can go online and search for exactly what ingredients I need, pick out the best deals, and then wonderful human shoppers will go out into the world and hand select everything. You can even order from multiple stores at the same time. Then it's delivered to your door in as fast as 1 hour. Oh, and probably my favorite part is that all of my orders are saved in Instacart. So then the next time I order groceries, I can just click and reorder my usual stuff. It's amazing. Is it weird to say that online grocery shopping has helped my mental health? Only if it wasn't true. To get free delivery on your first order over $35, click the link in the show notes. It lets Instacart know we sent you, gets you that free delivery, and helps support our show. Okay, now we have a few questions from our friends on the internet. So, first, Jamie says, I want to draw my feelings, but I don't know where to start, and I'm really bad at drawing. Do you have any advice?
That is a great question. I think that people tend to say that they're bad at drawing when they just like haven't done a lot of drawing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certainly drawing was like my thing growing up, and it just came to me more easily than like most other subjects did. But something that can be really fun is to try to just like draw your surroundings, try to like look at things and draw what you see. You could do that with photos also.
Ooh.
And your emotions can just come out. Or if you feel like if drawing realistic things is too hard, like just go abstract. Like everyone can do abstract. And just drawing like a bunch of like angry red scribbles when you're angry can be helpful.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I can't draw, but you're absolutely right. I haven't really tried.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can't do a whole lot of things that I haven't tried. So I don't blame anyone.
Yes.
But it's like no one's judging you if you're just doing it for your own benefit. So it's okay for it to be messy or bad.
And no one has to see it unless you decide to show it to somebody too.
Yeah.
Maggie says, I love your books. Do you have any more coming out soon?
Thank you. More, yes. Coming out soon, probably not. But yeah, I'm starting to work on another children's book that
Oh, yes.
I can't talk about just yet, but I'm really excited for it. And it will be more mental health related stuff, but for little kids.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. I will buy it.
Right.
When can I pre-order it?
I will let you know once there's more than a rough draft.
Perfect.
Yes.
Do you do the writing and then the drawing, or do they both happen at the same time?
It's kind of just a mix. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Jen says, you mentioned, doing a lot of like pop culture reference drawings and things. Jen says, I first heard of you when I saw Queer Eye reposted one of your drawings. Then I started seeing your art pop up in more places from more celebrities and websites, etc. Which one has meant the most to you?
Oh my God. One time Viola Davis posted a piece of mine, and that was
Whoa.
like bananas because she is so amazing and
Yeah.
so like serious and cool. And my drawings are like, ah! So that was very exciting. And like several years ago, the Backstreet Boys posted a really old and really crappy Backstreet Boys doodle that I did, and they did not credit me. And
Rude.
whatever, I'm not gonna be mad at the Backstreet Boys. It was just such a silly thing because it was on Valentine's Day. It was like a Valentine with them that I had drawn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the internet is so funny that this can just happen.
Wow. The Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is weird how it's like things can just multiply on the internet, because if one person shares something to their people and they share it to their people, all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Yeah. It's everywhere, but at the same time, like you hypothetically are just like sitting in the same place doing the same thing, and yet somehow it's like traveling the world without you.
Whenever like something big happens in my career, it always makes my dad laugh in a sweet way, because I spend all my time like drawing on my iPad on the couch using a pillow as a desk and not going anywhere. And my dad's like, and now this is happening. It really is just the magic of the internet.
Living the dream, I would say. And last but not least, we have the speed round of questions.
Okay.
Which you can answer as quickly or as not quickly as you want. You can explain or just say like one word or however you feel.
Sounds good.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, when was the last time you cried?
Ooh, recently. I don't remember when, but definitely recently.
Mine was like this morning reading the end of your book. So
There's a lot of crying when I was making it too.
Wonderful. What about the opposite? When's the last time you had a big belly laugh?
Oh, constantly. My sisters and I are really close, and we just are always texting each other like stupid, ridiculous things. And so I couldn't even tell you because it's just all the time. My sisters.
Wonderful. What are you grateful for right now?
My family is so wonderful. It feels like it got fractured from my mom dying, but we had a little Hanukkah party for the second to last night of Hanukkah with my sisters and her husband and my dad and his wife, and it was so cozy and wonderful. And it's like, there's still good stuff.
Yeah, for me, anything that can like remind me there's still good, there's still joy.
Yeah.
That's good. It's important, even though there's still sadness and crappy stuff too. What is your favorite thing to draw?
Like chubby people, fat people, people with like weird, interesting shaped bodies. I love doing that. And like long, poofy hair is very fun to draw.
Yes.
Wiggly line things.
Yeah. What sound can calm you down or bring you joy when you hear it?
I love when you're staying in a hotel on vacation and the air conditioner is on, the like hum. It, like,
Ooh.
I have like a little white noise app on my phone. It's kind of similar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Feel like you're in a hotel. What about a smell that does the same thing?
Anything baking, that's boring. one. I have my mom's perfume that she wore for like special occasions, and I wear it kind of a lot. Just it's cool because your sense of smell is like so like it like goes straight to your subconscious. So when I see it, like, oh, is she over there?
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
I read that in your book, and it made me think, like, to my memory right now, not being around any of my mom's stuff, like, I can't think of what my mom smelled like at all. And it made me think, oh, I wonder if there is, like, if there is a perfume that I don't even realize I was smelling and associate with my mom. So basically, next time I'm at my parents' house, I'm going to just go smell all my mom's stuff.
Yeah.
And see what comes up.
Little things, like, we kept a little, like compact of face powder that my mom had, like from the drugstore, but if you smell it, it like smells like her cheeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really beautiful, and I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course.
What is the best thing you do for your mental health?
Therapy. Honestly, therapy.
Yeah.
And being gentle with myself in general.
Yeah. What about the worst thing that you're like, maybe it's not the best. I kind of want to stop, but it's fine.
Obsessing. Just like, I can take any train of thought and turn it into something bad if I obsess about it for too long. But it's hard.
That is your creativity.
Yeah.
I can take anything and turn it into something.
And turn it into something that makes me feel bad.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about your brain?
My kindness, I think. I really value when other people are like warm, and I think I'm pretty warm too.
Yeah. What is your biggest guilty pleasure?
I try not to feel too guilty about my pleasures if I can. Otherwise, like honestly, every pleasure I feel guilty about. I have been eating a lot of fluffernutters lately.
Yeah.
Improving my life. I hosted Thanksgiving this year, and I was going to make this one pie that had marshmallow fluff in the ingredients, but I ended up making a different pie instead. So I have this jar of marshmallow fluff.
That's a great strategy.
They are, wow. Did you know when you're an adult, you can buy chocolate milk and eat fluffernutters? Like, that's something that's allowed.
And have breakfast for dinner and do whatever you want.
Sometimes I think that like being an adult kind of is what being an adult looks like when you're little, where it's like you can just buy candy and like play video games. It's like, yeah, you can do that stuff.
You can still be a kid if you want to. And like at some point you have to pay your bills and do the like adult stuff, but that's just a side. But
you can bribe yourself to do your bills with knowing that you're gonna watch like a fun movie afterwards or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
When do you feel most yourself?
When I'm with my sisters. Every answer is gonna be like my sisters, but my sisters are really great. Yeah. So my sisters.
These are the questions I ask everybody. The next one is, if you wrote a biography, what would it be called? But you've already written multiple
Dancing
books.
in the City Party.
Yeah. But if you have a different answer, or you're probably like, yeah, I'm working on a separate biography.
My sisters and I always like joke about making a sequel that's like Dancing at the Shitty Party or Dancing at the Whatever Party, like where it rhymes. I don't know, one of those things.
Dancing at the Shitty Party. I love it. What is something you're really good at that people might not know?
I can write in cursive backwards, like mirror image wise.
Whoa.
It's like my one fun party trick.
At the Shitty Party, Tyler will be there writing backwards in cursive.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last one is the most ridiculous. If you had to get something tattooed on your forehead, like somehow we're in this weird, dumb future that I've created where everybody's doing it and it's like your message to yourself in the mirror, but also your message as you go outside or go on Zoom out to the world, what would your forehead tattoo say?
If it was something that I wanted to look at in the mirror, would I have to get it tattooed in mirror image on my forehead?
You know, I think in this future it's like magic. It like flips. Yeah,
I hear you.
It's magic.
I really like the phrase "this too shall pass." My
really?
My grandpa used to say that a lot, and it's like something that helps me when I'm anxious, that like whatever I'm freaking out about is eventually gonna be over. I don't know how cute it would be on my forehead.
I think it would be cute.
You
could do it in backwards cursive.
Yeah. And grow some bangs, maybe.
Right. You can always hide it for a little bit. I don't recommend this alternate future for anyone, but
Yeah.
that's so funny to me that you say that you love that, because when you describe what saying this too shall pass means to you, that makes so much sense. But to me, there was one person in a Facebook comment like a couple months in the last few months when I'm like talking about feeling sad about my mom, and someone was like, this too shall pass. And of course they meant it, I'm sure, in like a nice, like, you're gonna be okay
that's gross
way. But I was like, screw you, no, it will not pass. This is my mom. She's gonna be dead forever, okay? I'm sad forever
oh
now.
my god, that is very cringy. I mean,
now that phrase just like
no, I would feel exactly the same. Like, if someone said that to me about my mom, I would like breathe fire at them. I hate that.
Right?
I mean, like when I was growing up and I would be like stressed out about my grades or something, my dad or my grandpa would say that, and that was comfort.
Right. It is so true. You know, you always hear like feelings are fleeting, and whatever horrible things you feel in this moment, yes, the feelings will change and they will pass.
Yeah.
But sometimes they also come back.
Yeah, sometimes when you're grieving, you don't need to be hearing a bunch of euphemisms.
Yes. Sometimes, all the time.
I found that when my mom died, people would go like, that really sucks. I'm so sorry. It would make me feel so much better than if they were like, she's in a better place and like you have my condolences and whatever.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to be like real and like honest. And
Absolutely. Which I've been thinking a lot about, how so much of what I've experienced and learned in grief seems to apply for so much when it comes to like mental struggles. Like when I think about my depression too, instead of someone being like, just go outside and like get some sun and you'll feel better, just being like, this sucks. I get it. You feel shitty today.
yeah. And
See
it's
how you
not
can get
fair
through
that
it.
you
Like,
have to
let me
feel-
sit with you and watch a happy movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Fully agree with you there.
So I feel a lot of similarities in all the things I'm learning. It's so great. And then of course, where can people find you? All over the internet, reading your books?
My Instagram is at Tyler Fetter. Fetter is like the first part of the word federal.
That's a good way to describe it.
My mom's email address was rhymeswithcheddar@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's how we always said it on our family. Rhymes with cheddar.
Oh,
Instagram is where I do most of my art. I also have an Etsy shop. It's called roaringsoftly.com. And my books are Dancing at the Pity Party and Bodies Are Cool. And they're sold at all the usual book selling places.
well, thank you so much for talking to me, for sharing so much with me here on the podcast, but also just with all of us on the internet. I hope you know how many people it helps and how many people, whatever club you're sharing from, the Dead Mom Club, the ADHD Club, the Anxiety Club, like
All three club.
it's a great overlapping club. I'm in that big club with you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure it helps so many people in each of the clubs and all of them at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you. It helps me knowing that there are other people that are being helped. We're all
Yay.
helping each other.
Exactly. That's the point. That's all we can do, is just like struggle through it and then try to help everybody else get through it too. And thank you, wonderful human, for listening to this episode of Mentally Together. I, Cassidy Quinn, will see you back here next week. In the meantime, go do something nice for your brain today. Go draw some angry scribbles or sad lines or whatever feelings you're feeling today. Go do a jigsaw puzzle or read Tyler's graphic novel, Dancing at the Pity Party, or her other book, Bodies Are Cool. Whatever will make your day just a little bit better. Because remember, we are all just trying to keep ourselves mentally together. Mentally Together is produced, hosted, and edited by Cassidy Quinn in collaboration with Koba FM, a podcast network that is all about community, baby.